Kia ora koutou. Welcome to the first webinar as part of the Optimise webinar series for 2014. My name is Helen Barshall and I'm the Senior Advisor for Audience Development and Capability Building at Creative New Zealand. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the webinar today. We have at least 35 people on the webinar, so we're really delighted to have so many of you here from across New Zealand, from Northland, Marlborough, Napier, Queenstown, all over, so we're delighted that so many of you could join us. Vicky Allprest-Hill, who's the Director of the Audience Connection, is going to be taking us through the first Optimise webinar, and today's webinar is on social media ideas for arts organisations. And Vicky will be taking us through some fantastic content, including social and digital content trends to take note of at the top of the year, social media ideas to kickstart 2014 in terms of online engagement, and new social media features that you can use now. Both the recording of this webinar and the PowerPoint will be made available to you after this webinar and can be accessed via Creative New Zealand's website. So without further ado, please, I'd like to welcome Vicky Allprest-Hill, who will take us through social media ideas for arts organisations.
Thank you, Helen, and Happy New Year to you all. I hope you have all had restful breaks and are ready to start with a fresh approach with your online marketing in 2014. We're certainly here to help. The goal of this webinar is to get you kick-started for the year with your social media. We all know that social media is now a vital element of New Zealand arts organisations' communications, marketing and audience engagement activities. Yet we still struggle with keeping our multiple social media channels up to date and our online audiences engaged. Devising new social media ideas and producing original digital content continue to rank as two of the biggest challenges for local arts organisations in the area of online marketing. We all need inspiration, particularly when we're buried in our multiple day-to-day responsibilities, of which social media is just one. Today I hope to alert you to some of the trends in social media and digital content that are going to impact us all in 2014. We're going to look at a few recent examples of great social media ideas that we have gathered for you that can give you inspiration for your own unique situations and help you to create more engaging and viral content with your limited resources. And I'll finish up by reminding you of a few new features of the most important social media sites that you can be using to your advantage to help distribute your digital content in the right way to the right people. Before we launch in, let's take a quick look at the social media landscape in New Zealand, and particularly the arts sector. So what do we know about the platforms and who's using them? AdCorp's regular social media usage statistics for Australia and New Zealand are extremely useful, giving us a sense of exactly which media platforms are reaching our local market. Thanks to AdCorp for producing these. If we look at this list, we can see that YouTube and Facebook are right up there on the list, reaching over 50% of the New Zealand population each. Blogging sites WordPress and Tumblr are next. Interesting when we hear about blogging making a comeback later in the webinar. And LinkedIn is growing, has over 660,000 users in New Zealand, and I'm certainly observing its increased usage. Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest are sort of right up there as well, which is another important thing that you'll hear about later. And note the rise in the number of New Zealand users on Instagram between September and October. You know, image sites are really up there now. Also, from the pilot results of Optimizer, which is our online marketing benchmarking study in the arts, we also know a bit about who is using three of the most used social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Why this is really particularly interesting is that this shows across 38 arts organisations in the New Zealand arts sector exactly what demographics are coming to their Facebook, Twitter and YouTube channels. So we still have a young Facebook demographic, but significant numbers in the 35 to 54 age groups. But interesting is the number of young people now using Twitter in the 25 to 34 age group, which is a growing trend internationally. And YouTube, I guess, surprised us with the older demographic, 45 plus, being so prominent. What else do we know and can draw on? Well, we know from social commentators that Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Google Plus are growing or having a resurgence. We have to keep a weather eye on Facebook. As you may have seen last week in the media, Princeton's Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department have predicted in a recent study that 80% of Facebook users will abandon the site within the next 3 years. Whether or not they are accurate, early indicators and observations are showing that that 20 to 35 demographic is starting to experiment with alternatives, with Tumblr, Twitter, and the photo messaging app Snapchat topping the list. So what are the social media commentators predicting for social media and digital content in 2014? When I work with organizations on digital strategy, one of the first things we undertake is a digital audit, which includes an honest review of the state of play of their digital capability and also the environment around them. These get turned into a SWOT with the opportunities and threats coming from the external environment. The 5 trends I'm about to share with you are precisely those opportunities and or threats from the digital landscape you need to respond to as arts organizations in 2014. Fortunately, I see most of them as exciting opportunities that work very well for us in the arts. They're also each interconnected in some way. Publishing quality content and pushing it out through social media and digital advertising channels is predicted to be the most important form of of marketing this year. So what is content marketing? It's a marketing technique of creating and distributing relevant and valuable content to attract, acquire, and engage a clearly defined and understood target audience. Also known as digital media, digital content comes in many forms, from text and audio and video files to graphics, animations, and images. If social media has taught us anything, it is that we are all content publishers. On his website, marketing and communications consultant Adam Vincenzini includes tweets, Facebook status updates, photos, videos, blog posts, audio files, numbers and statistics, and reports and white papers on his list of 50 examples of digital content. So why is content marketing so important to us? The importance of content has been talked about for a long time, but in 2013 it really came to the fore. People are becoming immune to advertising. Quality content is more respectful of our audience's intelligence, it engages and informs them and draws them closer to our brands. Not only that, but search engines like Google are rewarding publishers with popular content that is most clicked on. For example, Google's search algorithm is shifting into rewarding quality content over keyword placement. This is all coupled with social media platform functionality developing in such a way that distributing content to targeted audiences is becoming easier for us. Sharing tools, integration between platforms such as Instagram and Facebook, image displays improving, hashtags that enable viewers to view aggregated content on a theme in one place. They're all making it easier for us to distribute content and for our audiences to consume it. But content does have to be quality. Consumers will be dealing with cluttered news feeds, so they will be filtering. Here's an example of content marketing that you might be seeing a lot of lately, the listicle style content. It's everywhere. It's an effective way to present content and aggregate it too. Lists make the reader's job easy, they're scannable, and mostly important, hugely shareable. People are now news snacking, so they're also checking the news more frequently, typically from mobile devices. Lists curation are jumping on points. They're digestible and they offer different angles of getting into existing content. But listicles are an example of content that can be tacky, and we need to be careful of that. It is predicted that there will be a crackdown by social media platforms and search engines on spammy content in 2014. Here's one small example of the impact of content marketing. Last year, the Audience Connection helped the New Zealand String Quartet produce a series of videos about the works on their Bravo Britain tour. Each of the quartet members films themselves talking about a work in a relaxed setting, as you can see Helena in her garden here. And these snippets were edited together with some rehearsal footage. The videos were short, a couple of minutes each, and the content once created was able to be used in email marketing on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and their website. It also helped, as you can see here, the quartet and the tour come up in Google rankings and offered a more visual option amongst the text listings and the search results. Another notable trend in the area of content is the resurgence of blogging. We saw that blogging platforms, WordPress and Tumblr, are right up there in the top 10 social platforms being used by New Zealanders. International commentators are noting that blogging is expected to make a comeback as a key source of original content published by brands. This leads us into the next trend. Image-based content and video will drive social media engagement this year. Let's start with the importance of images. We all know that images have higher levels of engagement. This is really interesting. This is a November 2013 HubSpot A/B or split test that found that tweets containing images perform significantly better than those that don't. And that's across clicks, retweets, favorites, visits, and visitor to lead conversion rates and increase in leads. HubSpot also received 104% more comments on Facebook posts that had images rather than simply text or links. Looking at Facebook post performance in our recent Optimizer pilot study of online marketing benchmarks in the New Zealand arts sector, we saw again and again that image-based posts consistently performed the best. So you'll see American Ballet Theatre maximizing the functionality of Facebook to have their beautiful image featured across 2 columns. A lot of the development of functionality of social media platforms has centered around images recently. Twitter used to be a text-based platform. Now images are its most clicked on and shared content. And Twitter is now automatically displaying photos and videos in the stream. LinkedIn as well, introducing rich media posts. The image sharing sites Instagram and Pinterest are 2 of the fastest growing social platforms, as can be seen from this recent study from Global Web Index, which sampled answers from 170,000 users across 32 countries. Image-centric websites are also on the increase. Even technology sites are prioritizing images, such as the New Zealand-based globally successful accounting software Xero, who have a very strong image as you enter their homepage. It is predicted marketers will use images more and develop more branded images, especially for social platforms. Corporate organizations will be looking at every opportunity to utilize images when they can, as ASB Bank has this month, maximizing their association with the tennis ASB Classic. Images don't have to be professional photographer quality. In fact, the more raw and behind-the-scenes style often gets more traction. Here's an example of the Children's Museum of Indianapolis in a very engaging and human way using Instagram when the Colts football team's mascot Blue was taking autographs. Video is gaining strength as well as a form of digital content. Creating and consuming video has become easier than ever before. Consumers therefore have more of an appetite for video. As a result, social media platforms are developing video functionality, e.g. Vine, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Social media platforms are making it easy to distribute video and reach people with it. And Facebook video ads are also coming, according to Search Engine Watch. Video works well for B2B as well as B2C, so business to business as well as business to consumer. And we know that YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world, so video is very important. It's a very important video platform as well. So this is interesting from Susan Weinschunk, who's a leading author on psychology of customers, who says that humans are drawn to video for 4 reasons. We pay attention to faces. The human voice conveys meaning to us, especially of rich information. Emotions are contagious, and movement grabs attention. There are many ways of creating video. You can create slideshows, for example, live conversations. Webinars such as these can be recorded and become video. So there's many ways that you can think about video as a form of content. So in 2014, it's predicted video will be the most popular content type. There will be much more use of micro video content. So Vine is a 6-second format and Instagram 15 seconds. We have always known that we have great potential video content in arts organisations. We have stories to tell, creative people on board, and visual products. I really encourage you to maximise this trend to your advantage in 2014. Okay, 2014 is the year mobile usage goes mainstream and we need to adapt or miss out. This quote from 5 non-profit technology trends to watch for in 2014 says it all really. Non-profits that have not yet mobilized their online communications and fundraising campaigns will start to pay the price literally in lost donations in 2014. It continues with, going mobile will not be free, and for many small non-profits a costly upgrade, but to successfully communicate your mission and programs and fundraise online in coming years, it's a necessary investment. The same applies to us in the arts. Just look at these astounding numbers from the Optimize Online benchmarking pilot. Across the 38 participants, this was the average change in website traffic from across the desktop computers, mobile phones, and tablets such as iPads. So desktop visits to websites went down by over 15%. Mobile phone went up by over 40%, and tablet visits went up by over 55%. This means that your audiences and potential audiences are now far more likely to be viewing your website, email, and social platforms on a mobile device, and this is only going to become more common. Your website should be responsive to any sized device, and your focus should be mobile. Think about ways you can get in front of customers via their phone, thinking about your social media content in terms of mobile as well. For example, if the majority of your likes are coming from users on mobile, this number can be found with Facebook Insights. Think about ways you can optimize your Facebook posts for mobile. That's in terms of your photo size and the length of the text of your post, those sorts of things. And we know they'll be watching video on their mobile. So for an example of an organisation thinking mobile, check out the latest New Zealand Festival website. You can use a free service like I have here, such as Screenfly, to test out how your site looks on different mobile devices. Do it because it can be enough to shock you into immediate action. This is a year that you can no longer avoid migrating at least some of your budget from traditional media into digital. So according to marketing solution provider StrongView's 2014 Marketing Trends Survey, 46% of marketers plan to increase social media spending in 2014, and commentators predict that all social media managers in the corporate world will need to have budgets available to spend on social media advertising. Paid placements, especially Facebook advertising, will be essential for visibility, particularly with Facebook's changed algorithm, which restricts your post content delivery to approximately 15%, or perhaps less, fewer, of your followers. Content-based and promoted newsfeed ads on Facebook will take the lead. And the cost-effective, measurable, and targeted nature of advertising via social platforms will mean that the effectiveness of this form of advertising can't be denied. Here's an example of New Zealand Trio, NZ Trio, using content-based advertising on Facebook last year. They promoted a post, which then appeared in people's news feeds. Facebook advertising, by the way, is incredibly cost-effective and a great, safe, and effective, cheap way for small organizations to make a foray into digital advertising. Google AdWords, Google Display Network, and YouTube advertising also are very effective. I encourage you to view last year's webinar on this topic by Ray Bassett for a great and accessible overview of digital advertising and how it can work for an arts organisation. Chamber Music New Zealand used video as content and in advertising as part of their Optimise coaching project last year and had some great outcomes using Facebook advertising and YouTube in-stream advertising. And another Optimise coaching participant, Festival of Colour, also trialled a number of different types of Facebook ads with much success. A summary of these case studies will soon be made available through Creative New Zealand and Audience Connection channels. So finally, in terms of 2014 trends, commentators say that marketers will find creative ways to use contests or competitions as marketing tools to reach new followers and engage with their existing communities. Contests are a great way to increase brand exposure, reward your followers, and collect new audience data. After a period of being incredibly restrictive on promotion and contests, some of you will remember me telling you not to run promotions through the Facebook newsfeed or your page to get pulled down. Forcing marketers to use alternative platforms, paid ads, or be switching with page removal, Facebook has now relaxed promotion guidelines considerably. So page admins can now run a promotion or competition directly on their page and can set entries via likes or comments or posts or messages on your page. So I encourage you to read Facebook's promotion guidelines. There's a link to those in the resources later. It's predicted that quizzes and photo captions will create more social media engagement. Here's an example of LA Opera actually utilizing their competition even more by creating photos of them making the draw and using that again as digital content. So quite a clever extension of their competition and to engage people further. And marketers will make the most of Instagram to run contests. So contests are a great opportunity for us in the arts in 2014. So you've already seen a few one-off ideas and screenshots of how organisations are tapping into these opportunities. But what about those really clever integrated campaigns out there at the moment that are truly maximising digital content and social engagement to reach new customers and audiences and connect with existing ones? So we've gathered up a few of these to share with you today, especially those we feel could translate well into a local New Zealand arts situation. After all, when your head's not in social media all the time, what can be more mind-numbing than these blank status update spaces that you need to fill? So we're hoping that this short foray into some recent social media creativity will spark some new social media ideas for you. So the first is the Tate 1840s gift party. So Tate Britain audiences are currently being invited to turn artworks from the 1840s room into animated gifs. Via their online channels, they are inviting contributors to download a copy of their chosen artwork from the 1840s room and turn it into a GIF file. To get things started, they have commissioned 5 creatives, artists and designers to create and share their own. Have a look, go online and have a look, but my favourite has to be Montreal artist James Kerr's remix of John Brett's Lady with a Dove. You can view these on their Tate Collection's Tumblr blog, their digital space for young creators. Remember we talked about Tumblr and blogging earlier. And they're using the Tumblr space for submissions, which are due by 2nd of February. All submissions then get screened at their live Late at Tate event on a Friday evening. Friday, 7th of February, that happens in the 1840s room alongside the original artworks. What are the elements of this initiative you can draw from? It's a way of getting people to focus on their particular works of art, their assets. It's participatory and encouraging creativity amongst the audience. And once artworks are created and published, once the gifts are created and published, the creators will want to share them with their own networks, broadening reach. And of course, it's digital content that can be used across all of their online channels, appealing to the younger demographic and encouraging engagement as well with their live exhibition. The next initiative is one that was run in November last year by South African fashion retailer Urban Hilton Weiner. It's been labelled the best social media campaign by a fashion retailer in 2013 by some commentators. They allowed their customers to contribute towards payment for their clothes with an urban selfie photograph that they could take in any of the stores around South Africa. The premise was that the customers could visit a store on the day in question, which was 25th of November, and take a selfie of themselves wearing their desired item. They were then to tweet the selfie from their own Twitter stream using the hashtag #UrbanSelfie. At the counter, they would show their tweet and their following, and they would receive approximately $10 US towards their purchase. And the lucky customers might get double that if the staff decided their selfie had, quote, iconic urban style. The most retweeted selfie would win an Urban Degree wardrobe worth US $1,000. And in addition, customers were invited to upload their selfie to the retailer's Facebook page, and those with the most style likes had a chance of winning a long weekend in New York, London, Tokyo, or a fashion capital of their choice. So why was this a clever idea that could translate into an arts context? It's capitalizing on commonplace behavior, taking a selfie. It's tapping into people's desire to express themselves creatively and encouraging them to do so by making it really easy and fun. And the brand itself is demonstrating it has a sense of humor. I like the way it involves staff and customers working together. And of course, again, it creates a batch of digital content that can be used in numerous ways. And it's enlisting customers to promote and endorse the brand to their followers. Customers gain a tangible reward for this work, and the better they do, the greater the reward. It's a very nice little promotion that could be emulated in the arts in a number of ways. And in fact, it has been. On 22nd of January this year, museum visitors, curators, managers and mascots from all over the world will be taking part in, or did take part in Museum Selfie Day, which is a Twitter project aimed at raising awareness of the great collections being housed by museums across the globe. So people were invited to submit their own shots and join in with the conversation on Twitter by following the Museum Selfie hashtag. And pictures could be current or from a previous trip. Our next example is an online documentary film series devoted to New York City artists in their first decade of their professional career. So all artists who take part are living and working in New York City. Art21 is a non-profit based in New York, which over the last decade has established itself as a preeminent chronicler of contemporary art and artists. In doing so, it's introduced millions of people of all ages to contemporary art. New York Closeup is a wonderful example of a collaboration between multiple parties and across art forms, resulting in the outcome of some truly quality video content that showcases the artists in a respectful way and gives audiences some unique and rich insights. It's presented online as a suite of interdependent and experimental short films published over several years. What is impressive about this project? Its quality and its clear goals. It's been made possible by collaboration and sponsorship by location hotels, PR companies, sound and communications companies, video rental companies and more. And it's creating some very quality digital shareable rich content that can be accessed across a range of channels. It's been packaged together really well in a microsite. So that's a bigger example of a project that with collaboration can create true value. Some of you will know Lucy Patterson, who used to be at Te Papa, who's now doing really well as Digital Products Manager at South Bank Centre in London. Lucy alerted me to this wonderful campaign by a small UK company who are brilliant digital marketers. Innocent Drinks is an ethical juice company, and during November last year they ran the Big Knit to work with Age UK to help old people who struggle through cold winters. They put 1 million hats on their drink bottles in November in stores, and volunteers were invited to either knit one of the hats in real life or to create a virtual hat using their app. The premise of the campaign is that for each real or virtual hat a volunteer creates, Innocent Drinks made a donation to Age UK, 25p for a real hat and 10p for a virtual hat, if you shared it on social media as well, so that was part of the deal. So what's inventive about this campaign? It brings customers together to work towards a cause that is aligned with the organization's ethical brand values. It encourages creativity offline and online, so the customer can choose what medium. But either way, they're spreading the word. This is a campaign style that gets some media attention, and as well it achieves sales goals by shifting product in store. So everybody wins from this kind of campaign. Online bookstore Abe Books invited their Twitter followers to share shelfies of their home bookshelves, and they also shared their own. The shelfies shared included one with a live cat crawling underneath a stack of books, a bookshelf in the shape of the United States, and some wide shots showing living room shelves with hundreds of books. And it started to trend on Twitter. I was interested to read that a short while back a British survey found that bookshelves are one of the reasons that printed books still retain a certain cachet amongst young people, because books are status symbols. You can't really see what someone has read on their Kindle, it says. So how can we use this idea in the arts? Well, it's already a great idea for the literary sector, and I've seen similar ideas for sharing images of artist studios. So think of things that are status symbols and enable your audience to express who they are. It could be sharing a photo of your ballet shoes, your desk, a piece of art from your wall, your CD collection, a screenshot of your favorite classical playlist, a photo from your next attendance at an arts event. Really, the sky is the limit. Possibilities are endless. How about a ticket from the next show you attend? The advantages to you are engagement and connection with your audiences and user-generated digital content you can then curate and aggregate in various ways. For example, we could do a listicle, our 10 favourite images from, etc. Now, in January 2013, Vine emerged. Some of you may have read about Vine in Canvas magazine in this last week. It's a mobile service that lets you capture and share short looping videos, 6 seconds or less. Twitter acquired Vine before it even launched. They believe that brevity inspires creativity. Online marketing news resource Mashable.com runs the Mashable Vine Challenge. So each week they invite readers to create Vine videos based on a particular theme. The most creative entries are then featured and therefore showcased in a follow-up article. It's clever stuff. Mashable attracts some leading-edge creativity. They compile content from it that becomes incredibly shareable, and they talent scout while they're at it. Themes have been things like use any geometric shape, holiday lights, create an animated cartoon, or create a video only using paper. So where's the inspiration for us? Set people a creative challenge that is easy but gives them an opportunity to show off their talent. Align it with themes that promote your latest work or event. Reward them for it. We'll feature the 10 best, for example, and then use the content to your advantage, thereby showcasing them more. Again, everybody wins. It's interesting, having read that blogs have become important again and young people are moving to Tumblr, because the Museum of Modern Art in New York launched their new MoMA Teens Tumblr blog in August last year. So their associate educator, Calder's Wiki, said they've been working on the site for the past 9 months and that museums can be very intimidating, so this site will show how teen-friendly the museum can be. And their idea, which is interesting, was to meet teens where they already are. So they had a Facebook page for MoMA teens, but were noticing the age skew of followers was increasing. So the followers were getting older, so they weren't reaching the group that they wanted. 2 months after the launch, the blog already had 2,500 followers. And another great tip is that the day-to-day management of the blog is undertaken by teen editors who've built up a relationship already with MoMA through its classes and courses. So what can we learn from this idea? If you're looking to launch an initiative for young people, then really think carefully now about the platform you use to reach them. And Tumblr can be a great tool to share visual content, simple short-form content, and it's well used by the younger generation. And some of the most trending topics on Tumblr are apparently art and fashion, so it's got a cultural bent to it as a platform. Another nice little project was Unitec in Auckland, University in Auckland, their What is Success campaign, which was a competition to reinforce brand values, showcase their alumni success, and generate user content. So they asked some of their most talented graduates what success meant to them and created some content to get people started, and then they invited people to upload their own video and text content explaining what success means to them, and they used that in a variety of ways. A beautiful one there from Lucy Hodge, who wants to be an actress, singer, and writer, and so she works harder than anyone she knows. This was a hugely a broad and highly visible campaign in the UK, which some of you may have seen if you've been in the UK in the last year. It was an exhibition of the UK's greatest art across 22,000 poster sites and billboards. So as such, it was the largest of its kind in the world. It happened in August last year. And artists, curators, media owners, and entrepreneurs were joined by a love of art, fueled this massive celebration, and the general public crowdfunded over £35,000 to help make it happen. So it came about by public donations and also the poster companies donating sites for this. What was great about it is that it got everyone engaged and involved, and as a result, people were creating their own content using the hashtag #ArtEverywhere, which is something they really encouraged. The final example I wanted to mention today was the Evian water Wimbledon Wiggle, which also took place last year, and people went into the draw to win VIP Wimbledon tickets by sending in a video of their version of the little wiggle dance that tennis players do before receiving a serve. What is interesting about this project is that it attracted a lot of media interest and influencers. So at top right, you can see Nick Grimshaw, who's a British TV and radio presenter, being featured doing the wiggle by OK Magazine on Twitter using the visual content that we talked about earlier. So in terms of being really fun and making it easy for people and making them feel part of a community, and then attracting the attention of some key social media influencers, this was a very successful campaign. So I just wanted to wrap up today with 5 social media features you can utilize now. You may be using some of these already, but I just wanted to make sure you were aware of them. If any of them interest you, just Google search to find out more. So the first is the Facebook comment features. So deeper and richer conversations are now possible on your page with the reply functionality that is now within comments. So it used to be that you could post something and you would hope that people would comment underneath. And if person number 1 commented and then 2 or 3 more people commented, person number 5 might want to reply to person number 1, but their comment ended up at the bottom of the feed. Now you can enable replies within each of the comments, and as you can see here on the Ticketing Professionals Conference Facebook page, you can not only can you reply under a comment, but you can also insert an image now within comments. So it's a great opportunity to either engage on other Facebook pages that are attracting your audience to raise your visibility, discreetly and carefully I might add, but also to enable the conversations on your own page to get a bit deeper and more engaging, and enabling people to talk to each other, so facilitating that. So what you do is you go into your settings and you have to enable this feature. I'm amazed actually at how many Facebook pages aren't allowing it yet. They may have their reasons, but I think it's a great functionality to enable. Instagram just released a new feature that many are calling a Snapchat killer. So Snapchat is a new social media platform that enables photo sharing directly to friends, and the photos then disappear into thin air and don't get kept on the web after a period of time that you specify. And more young people are moving to this, which makes us think that there is a privacy issue going on. People are getting a bit frustrated at their privacy being impacted by Facebook's continual changes. So Instagram has responded to that by enabling you to now direct message anyone you are following on the service. So this is a great opportunity for marketers, small businesses and marketers, to identify influencers on Instagram and then send them messages that are really going to attract their attention and be very targeted to them. Definitely worth a look at. So from May 2013, May last year, since then users can now upload images, documents, presentations and other file types to any post in LinkedIn. I'm really noticing LinkedIn's growth. It's a good idea to not only have your own LinkedIn profile, but have a business page for your organization on LinkedIn. And if you do so, just make the most of this ability to add images into your posts. You can see down below, once you've done it, when it appears in the news feed, it's much more attractive to people and engaging than a simple text post or a long paragraph of text with a link. So just another feature that can be very helpful to you, particularly in your business to business marketing. YouTube custom thumbnails are great. For a long time, YouTube forced you to use one of 3 thumbnail images that they selected themselves, and sometimes it was really a matter of selecting the best of a bad bunch. But now you can create your own thumbnail, and that gets appended then to the YouTube video when it appears not only on YouTube but when it's linked to from other social platforms. So a really small thing, but it can have a positive impact on how people engage with your content. Go through and look at a lot of the new YouTube functionality. There are all sorts of little tips and tricks. You can feature, in one of your videos, you can feature another video that pops up perhaps in the bottom right-hand corner 10 or 15 seconds before the end, thereby directing people to more of your content. So there's a lot of features and functionality in YouTube that can really help you with content distribution. And last but not least, also talking about YouTube, I'm excited to see they're now offering live streaming to everyone who has a channel. So this feature might be used to create or broadcast a live webinar, a presentation, or another live event. It's a great way to build subscriptions on your channel, and you can pre-schedule an event and promote it through YouTube. It's something that requires a bit of reading about, but if you are looking for an opportunity to broadcast live to either a select or a broader audience, this might be something to have fun with and experiment with. So just recapping what we've covered today, we talked about 5 big social and digital content trends to take note of. These were content marketing, visual content, so images and video, the shift to mobile, having to migrate your ad spend into digital, and the opportunity to use contests and competitions. So these are all big, wider trends that we're seeing. Then we went through 10 social media ideas that have hopefully kick-started some thinking. Hopefully you can have a few takeaways from those. And then we've just run over a few social media features that you can utilize now. I found this quote in my research for this webinar, which really, I thought, really kind of nailed it. It will no longer matter where one consumes content, but rather what the content is. And I think this is really true with people's different digital devices that you're using to consume content in the different places that they'll be seeing it. You need to think that it could be anywhere that people are viewing your videos or looking at your images, things like that. Well, I've gathered up a few resources for you today that you can go away and explore a bit further. I do encourage you to go into our rich resource of previous optimized webinars, an example of digital content that you can really utilize. There's recordings of the webinars and also PDFs of the PowerPoint presentations. And I did mention one of those today about digital advertising. And there is one about YouTube and how to really approach that as a channel, almost like a TV channel for you. The Optimizer blog will give you updates and benchmarks from the online benchmarking program, which is just emerging from its pilot phase and going into its 2nd year, supported by Creative New Zealand and run by myself and Tim Roberts. So definitely sign up to the blog and to get the updates. I mentioned Facebook promotions. A good idea to go and read their guidelines. It can also give you some good ideas. And just something that is really useful in terms of distributing regular case studies in digital in the arts is the Guardian Culture Professionals Network, which anyone can sign up for. I mentioned a couple of quotes, I think, from Non-Profit Tech for Good. I find some really good resources there and some good evidence to argue your case for certain things. And the Arts Management and Technology Laboratory, another great resource to look at case studies and commentaries on digital in the arts. But I do encourage you to Google almost anything. If you think laterally about the search phrase, you can find almost any answer you need on any of the topics that I've talked to you about today. So thank you, and I'll hand back to Helen.
Thank you so much, Vicky. That was a fantastic presentation full of amazing, rich material, and I hope that it sparks new social media ideas for you on the webinar today and some amazing takeaways there for video content. What I thought was of particular interest is what you might be able to do in terms of working with artists and creators that you have at your disposal to create interesting content. And I also thought it was rather striking that many of these projects, for instance, the Museum Selfie Day, are very collaborative in nature. And I challenge you to work out how you might collaborate with other organisations or artists as part of your online engagement strategies. I'd like to give a big thank you to you, Vicky, and I'd also like to let everyone know that the second Optimise webinar is coming up. So a date for your diary is Wednesday the 26th of February, and we'll be presenting a great webinar on mobile optimising your website, and we'll have a guest presenter, Stuart Buchanan, who's a digital specialist, presenting that particular subject. So please do join us for that. Cassandra Wilson will be in touch with those of you on the line today to let you know further details and how you can register. So I think that's about it for today. That's a wrap. Many thanks to you all for joining us, and thanks again, Vicky, for such a fantastic presentation.
Thank you.